Hello guys, welcome back to the video. Today we are reacting to Minecraft Your World Has a Big Problem. The Science of Minecraft by the Game Zero. So I will expect so 3, 2, 1, let's react.
Dear Mojang, hi, it's me, Austin, blah blah blah, and I'm back again. You cannot keep me down and you cannot keep me away. At this point, you're starting to become like my Pokemon, an infinite well of content fuel for me. Anyway, this week we're doing an episode on something I thought of while I was in the shower, because that's where all the best ideas come from, and it's stupid and dumb and fun and awesome, and we're gonna learn things about angular velocity, centripetal force, gravity, and all kinds of fun things that have to do with it. If by chance you're a trigonometry teacher and you're trying to show your class that trig is awesome instead of tedious, this is the video for you. Although I do have to warn you, nightmare fuel like this does show up. In any case, the topic I came up with today that is stupid and silly is this. What are the consequences of an incredibly fast day-night cycle in Minecraft? For those of you who don't know, the day-night cycle in Minecraft is 20 minutes long. 20 minutes.
Day is 10 minutes and the night is 10 minutes.
The designers do this presumably for the same reason lots of games do this, to make it so you can experience the full gamut of daylight and nighttime in a single playthrough without having to play for like 12 hours. But it turns out this can have some pretty amazing consequences once you start to dig into the implications of what this actually means. And to get to the heart of this, let's start simple. What is a day? You see, we think of a day as being 1/365th of a rotation around the sun, but as CPG Gray points out in this amazing video about leap years, one day is actually one full rotation of the Earth along its central axis. When it makes one full 360-degree rotation, that is one day. It just so happens that the Earth spins at a rate that's roughly equivalent to 1/365th of a rotation around the sun. It's this rotation that makes the sun appear to rise in the east and set in the west. In reality, the sun is barely moving in relationship to us, but the rotation of the planet is constantly repositioning us in relationship to it on the planet. So, sunrise to sunrise, that is a full day on any planet. It's this connection to spinning speed that makes our problem way more fascinating than it might seem at first glance. All planets have different spinning speeds. The Earth's takes 24 hours, while Jupiter, the largest planet, spins over twice as fast as us at 10 hours per 360-degree rotation. Now, in order to know the full consequences of a planet that rotates once per 20 minutes, we gotta know how big our planet is. Plus, I do have to address something that comes up literally every single freaking time I do a video on Minecraft, because people don't bother to read the freaking wiki before making a comment. The Minecraft world size is finite, not infinite, period. There's a world boundary that appears at coordinates 29,999,984. And what always happens when I mention this border is that people go, "But Austin, you can clearly see stuff past that." And okay, you know what? Screw you. I'm gonna go past this barrier. And using both teleportation and ender pearls, you can get past the world border. And you know what happens? There's another invisible border at coordinate 30 million. And if you could somehow get past this invisible wall, you would immediately fall through the floor into the abyss and you die, because none of these blocks can be interacted with at all. They functionally don't exist. They might as well be the sky painted on the wall at the end of the Truman Show. So stop telling me the Minecraft world is infinite. It is not. It is at most 60 million blocks.
60 million blocks. Okay.
Blocks by 60 million blocks, or 3.6 quadrillion square meters, since one side of a block is a meter. Period. using the power of math, specifically the square root of the area divided by 4 pi, we can project this surface area onto a sphere and figure out its radius, which we'll need for a couple of things. One is to figure out the effects of this rotational energy, and another to find the density, which will become relevant later. The radius of the Minecraft planet is 16.9 million meters, or over 10,000 miles. For context, this makes the Minecraft world over 2.5 times wider than the Earth. Yikes! Next, we need to find out the angular velocity of a sphere that's rotating around a central axis that's rotating once every 20 minutes. That's 0.05 rotations per minute, or 31 radians per minute, which drops down to 0.005235 radians per second. That is our angular velocity. Now, a human being standing on the surface of the Earth is actually rotating around the axis of the Earth along with it. I think that makes sense, right? With an RPM of 0.0006947 and a radius of 6.3 million meters, a person at the equator is rotating around the center of the Earth at 362 meters per second, or over 1,000 miles per hour. Interestingly enough, the spinning does create centrifugal force on us as we stand on the Earth, as we're constantly changing velocity. Thankfully, the Earth is much, much stronger than this force, as even at the equator, where your tangential velocity is at its highest, you will only experience 0.0336 meters per second force from centrifugal force, making you feel 0.34% less gravity than you would at the north or south poles, where spin is minimal. This is the same force that allows you to swing a bucket upside down over your head as long as you're spinning it fast enough. The constant change of direction and speed caused by the rotation around a single point, your shoulder, will create a force opposing the center of rotation, and it can relatively easily be more powerful than gravity. This is also how halo rings work. This is called centrifugal force. And yes, I do hear you back there nitpicking my use of centripetal and centrifugal, but screw you! They're mostly fake names anyway for an amalgamation of other forces anyway, so get off my back, man! I bring all of this up because, oh boy, a planet bigger than the Earth spinning faster than the Earth is going to create some absolutely nuts forces. The tangential velocity you experience on the Earth is a little over the speed of sound, but the tangential speeds you'll be experiencing on a Minecraft planet at the equator would be over 88,000 meters per second. That's 10 times faster than the speed of the halo rings. Using this formula, we can figure out the acceleration created by this constant change of velocity, which is, get this, 463.85 meters per second of acceleration due to centrifugal force. Holy crap! Given that gravity on the Minecraft planet is 32.4 meters per second squared, measured by, falling, this is over 14 Minecraft G's of force. Holy crap! This means that either A, we'd be flying off the planet's surface immediately at almost, and this is not an exaggeration, 200,000 miles per hour, or the planet is actually massive enough to create enough gravitational pull to counteract the centrifugal force that is pulling you upward and away from the planet's surface. This presents some problems though. With just 32.4 meters per second squared of Minecraft's gravity, our Minecraft world would have to be as massive as 23 Earths, which, with it being as big as it is, shouldn't be a surprise, but if it's managing to pull 32.4 meters per second of gravity after the 463.85 meters per second squared of centrifugal force is canceled out, that means it'd have a total gravitational pull of 496.28 meters per second squared, over 15 Minecraft G's, meaning it would have to have a mass of 356 Earths. That is bigger than Jupiter. Furthermore, all of this mass is shoved into a space dramatically smaller than Jupiter's. The Minecraft world should have a density of over 100,000 kilograms per cubic meter. That's as dense as the core of the freaking sun, which, I guess maybe that's why bedrock is impossible to break outside of creative mode. But if we accept this as possible, this makes the Minecraft world kinda habitable, if a bit far-fetched with this day-night cycle. Like, if we accept that this clearly impossible planet could actually exist, there's way more to be wary of. Because if all of this is true, it means that there is, in theory, a very small band of habitability around the center of the world. And if you go outside of that, you are toast. Okay, so remember earlier when I said at the equator you technically weigh 0.34% less than you would at the poles? That is because as you travel north, the radius around which you're spinning around the center of the Earth becomes much, much smaller, meaning your tangential velocity drops, which means you experience less change of velocity, therefore less centrifugal force, as you can see here if we drop these numbers down. But it gets even worse. Remember, centrifugal force is experienced perpendicular to the axis of rotation, meaning when you're at the equator, the centrifugal force you experience due to the rotation of the Earth is directly opposite to gravity. But the further north you go, it starts to pull at an angle to gravity. That's because gravity pulls you toward a point at the center of the Earth, but the centrifugal force pulls you away from the axis of rotation, which runs along the entire length of the globe. Meaning the further up you go, not only is the spin getting less strong, it's also less directly opposed to gravity, meaning the centrifugal force drops off exponentially, not linearly. If we're only calculating the sums of acceleration at the equator, we can easily just subtract the centrifugal force from gravity. But if we want to calculate it at any other point, we have to use this mess, which does look scary, but it's actually just the Pythagorean theorem. At Minecraft's poles, centrifugal force falls to 0, and you would experience the full 50 Earth Gs of gravity. Even if we take into account the likelihood that Steve and Alex can survive stronger G-forces than us, at around the 10-degree latitude mark, they'd be experiencing over 3 Minecraft Gs, meaning that the average Earthling, instead of weighing around 70 kilos, would weigh 210 kilos or 450 pounds. This is pretty much the limit of what is a habitable zone. This would kind of be like if humans could only live on this narrow strip of Earth or risk being crushed to death by gravity. Kind of amazingly though, since Minecraft is so big, it would actually take you an extremely long time to reach this border. It's over 1,500 kilometers north or south, which traveling at the fastest method in the game means that it'd take over 13 hours of rocket-fueled flight to reach. You can cut this down to a little over 90 minutes if you use the Nether, but still, that's a long, long time to travel. You'd likely never get this far in a single game of Minecraft unless you dedicated your entire playtime to traveling directly north or directly south. But aside from this, the storms on the planet would be out of this world. The rotation of planets is what causes things like hurricanes and things like the red spot on Jupiter. This planet spinning around at 88,000 meters per second would create the most destructive storms you have ever seen. And past this 10-degree boundary that's only 3,000 kilometers wide, the world would get really flat. Like gravity would just be too strong for things like hills to stay formed. They'd just get pulled down instantly. You know, in fact, I'm pretty sure that something this massive spinning this fast couldn't even hold the shape of a sphere, but you know, that's a story for a different time. So there you have it. We did it! Minecraft is impossible! Who would have thought that a game that's about building stuff with square blocks would be unrealistic? This also arguably goes for every other game with a truncated day-night cycle, I think. That means that, like, World of Warcraft and the modern Pokemon games are the only safe places to live. I don't have anything sassy to say or anything to yell about. This was just a really, really fun math problem for me to work out. Oh, and if you are a trig teacher trying to make this into a fun exercise in your class, here is all the formulas I used, albeit...
So, yeah guys, my second channel link down below. That's where I play Minecraft. See you guys, thanks for watching, and of course, peace to all the people left. Peace, peace.